I'm having some chrysanthemum tea. This is a very special tea, chrysanthemum, if you can get a hold of it. It is the plant that is carrying the modern frequencies that can help us. Not do the job for us, never that, but can be an ally in this walk and in this journey. In this walk and in this journey. Let's just talk a little bit about world events, but not in the way that you're used to hearing them, right? I'm not going to be here repeating things, but we can't be naive enough to think that we're not immune to them, meaning that because we exist in a world that has everything going on, it's important to talk about the big things going on because it has an effect on everyone. When our brothers and sisters on the planet are suffering, it's everyone's challenge. Because too many times we see the, oh, that's happening over there syndrome. I witnessed this as a kid from time to time, growing up in the inner cities of New York. I grew up, I spent the last half of my childhood in Brooklyn, New York. And I remember that there were certain things that were happening in the schools. Not major, like compared to what's happening now. But I lived in the inner city, urban areas. And there would be incidences happening at the school, and nobody cared. Nobody cared about what was going on in the urban cities because only certain people live there. And they're not worth paying any attention to. And that won't happen in our schools. That won't happen in our neighborhoods. And that won't happen in our communities. No one cared. And lo and behold, because no one cared, now what do we have? Mass pew-pews in our school. By the way, none of that happened. But when it started to boil up, no one cared. Now, you know where those mass pew-pews are happening? In the places that didn't care. And it's not happening in the places where they should have been stopped. So we should always care about what's going on in the world without getting wrapped up. Without getting wrapped up. Now, I'm only talking to certain people here because if it's not possible because of, how you're emotionally wired to pay attention to what's going on in the world without getting wrapped up and caught up in it, don't do it. Do not listen to me when it comes to that. Because the most important thing that you need to guard is your energy and your emotional state and your mind. And if it's not possible for you to do that while you pay attention to what these fools are doing out there, then don't do it. Because the most important thing, even more important than what I'm going to be talking about, is you maintaining your emotional integrity, your mental sanity. Your emotional integrity and your mental sanity, they take priority. They take priority. And here's the kicker. You can do that and still care. You can do that and still be compassionate for those who are suffering. So it isn't like you're doing this and turning away and not paying attention to anything. You can be compassionate. You can talk to the divine. Some people say pray. I don't do prayer. Because who am I praying to? When I've got the divine and the creator within me and all I have to do is talk to myself and there I am talking to the creator. I recommend everyone do that. Because if you're praying to something sitting out there somewhere, something, some creature, some being, something, well, you're not looking at the real creator now, are you? You are bypassing the creator, which is nowhere else but within you. And here's the kicker between what I say and what many others say. This is the kicker here. The kicker is, I say the creator within you and that is you at the same time. Many cannot resonate with that, but the frequency of that must take root because it's the truth. Many of you heard my story about me meeting the creator. And I didn't have to travel to somewhere in the East to meet some guru to do that. And I came to the realization that the creator was always there. I just didn't know it. Excuse me. Just didn't know it. Thank you so much for sharing and liking the live. Thank you so much. Please share and like the live. And let's get us up to 10K likes, okay? That's our daily goal, but I like to set a tone for that. Because as you know, I can set the stage, set the table, bring the subject, start speaking, and then it stops there as far as all that I can do. When it comes to getting the people who would benefit from the message that I'm bringing and that we're all participating in, when it comes to them, it's in your hands. You have the power to do that. And indeed, some of you became a part of this live because someone else did that. Because you see, the algorithm is an imitation of your brain. So when you put it out there, the algorithm is like the field. When you put it out there, then this is how you imitate what your mind does when you go to sleep at night. It goes out, reaches out, and brings messages to people that you'll never meet. The mind is not restricted to your body. The minute you fall to sleep, you do not need your conscious mind. And since your subconscious mind isn't busy with all the garbage coming through and all of that, and she is sitting there, she then uses that time because she doesn't need sleep. This is the law of the universe. The law of gender. You have the masculine mind, which is the conscious mind, and you have the subconscious mind, which is the feminine mind. The conscious mind decides what goes down to the feminine mind for her to create, right? And the feminine mind, the subconscious mind, does the creation. This is how they work. When the conscious mind, the masculine, is sleeping, she goes out and she has all kinds of conversation with the neighbors. And while she's having those conversations, she's also creating your reality and lining all that up for you to experience the next day. More creation occurs while you're asleep than when you're awake. Because you might say, well, Papa G, I got all this stuff going on in my life. How am I the creator? And the first thing you must know is you are the creator because you set up what needs to be created by what you pay attention to when you're awake. And what you pay attention to and the frequency of vibration of those things is what your subconscious mind uses to create the reality for you. Because your subconscious mind, while you're sleeping, creates your reality based on how you feel about a thing, how much attention you give it, and where your focus is. If you truly get that, you will need no manifestation courses because you don't need to learn how to do that. You do it all the time. You just need to figure out how to stop creating the shit you don't want and turn it into the stuff that you want. You can only do that if it's brought into your consciousness, like I've just done. You see how you create your reality? That's how it happens. You don't consciously go around saying, you do in a way, it is a part of it. Oh, I want to do this. I want to write a book. So you might end up writing that book. If you focus on it, all of a sudden you will see things coming. I will admit this, full transparency. I was supposed to have a book out about 3 years ago. That book is not yet written. But for 3 years, because I think about it every day, all kinds of ads, and I don't talk about it that much. How many times have I talked? You guys that come to my lives all the time, how much do I talk about writing a book? Every once in a blue moon. But that book is, I've already just started on it. But I can tell you this, it's in my mind every day. And every day something comes up, or at least 3-4 times a week, something comes up about writing a book. I've even had people come up to me, when you're writing that book, never spoke to them, don't even know them. How do they know, you might ask? And I'm glad you've asked. Because my mind, my subconscious mind, she goes out and talks to other minds. And that just so happens to be one of the minds that she had a conversation with. That's how they know. So it comes into the reality. Why? Because it's a focus. Why? Because it's a desire. And now the desire is to the point where I'm like, I've had a gut full of it. So I started last night. And got something the night before that will assist me to do that. Okay, I don't know if anybody said anything. By the way, please forgive me if you say something and I don't see it because I don't have my glasses. So that's why I'm leaning in like this. Because I'm nearsighted. Hey, by the way, have you guys tried those glasses with the holes in them? If anybody has, put it in the chat for me. Right? So you see how my reality is being created and now it's come around to now me writing this book because this is really important that I write this book. My higher self told me this 3 years ago. It should have been written because I'm going to write that thing in 30 days or less, 45 days or less. It's already written up there. I know exactly what every chapter is supposed to be. I know what I'm going to write there. And of course, there are going to be some things in there that are going to come stream down straight from Spirit that I'm not aware of. Because Spirit is not going to stream it down if I ain't ready to get to take it and put pen to paper. And I'm sure that there are many of you who have a similar situation. Right? So that's how the reality is created. So let's get back to the point and the subject. You know who knows that? The people who we've put in power to govern us. They know that. And so they create the situations that create the things that are at a certain frequency and vibration for us to create from that. Now you might say, well, I don't want us to go to, pew-pewing people and killing innocent people. I don't want us to do that. How did I create that? I'm not taking the fall for that. Know yourself is the most important lesson and the most important thing that you can do on this planet. Because if you knew yourself, you wouldn't be asking me those questions. I know there's someone asking it. And it's a good question. It's not a put down. It's a good question because from questions come knowledge. Knowledge doesn't come from answers. Knowledge comes from questions. So it's a good one. When you're at a certain frequency and an area or an environment is at a certain frequency, it creates the things that are aligned with that frequency. So you might not necessarily particularly choose a particular thing that's in your life. But that thing is there because it's a match for your frequency, your vibration. Even though you do not desire that particular thing to be there, it will show up if you're walking around the neighborhood that it walks around in. It walks around in that neighborhood and you're walking there, you're going to meet it. You're going to encounter it. You're going to shake hands. You're going to look at each other. You in that event. Even though you've not purposely created that particular event, if you're in the frequency of that event, you can become enmeshed in that event, even though it's not something that you purposely created. This is how they get us to create. So when they say, in the spiritual community, I hear this a lot. Without us, they can't create anything. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We're the ones that create everything. Yes. So why are you allowing yourself to create war? When I say you, I'm not talking about you in particular, right? This is just like a speaking out loud kind of a thing. Because most of us, even when we're aware that we're the creators here, we don't know how it works. So we just repeat it. Because I've asked these questions to certain people. And the best thing to do is be honest. And I said, well, I'm not creating that. And usually it's someone that I know really well, right? I know really well. And there's some folks that I know, and this is not critical, this is just teachable moments, okay? Where they really mean well. They understand all the lingo, manifestation, creating our own reality, as above, so below. They know some of the really, really, typical spiritual lingo stuff. But they have no idea what those things are derived from or the truth that is inside of those things. See, you can know the lingo, you can know the words, you can hang around the people that are, knee deep into that aspect of themselves without ever knowing what anything means. And that's often the layer that I go to in my lives, right? I go to that layer. In the community, I go to deeper layers than that, right? But I don't put out just trash on TikTok, right? And I never run out of things to say because the source of what I have to say comes from the unlimited. It doesn't come from this. This is simply the computer that takes in the information. It isn't the library. It's not the library. It's simply the processor. It has its own little memory banks in there, but it's not the library. The library is coming from the source of all knowingness. In the yogic system, they call that the chitta, the chitta. When you have touched the chitta, there's nothing that you cannot access in terms of knowledge and wisdom. And that's everyone's birthright, not just the gurus and the really, really super spiritual people. It's for everyone. But it just isn't going to come to you like this or like that. You have to really want it and you have to strive for it. And all you have to do is have the proper relationship with your ancestors, not spirit guides, ancestors. And you will touch the chitta eventually. All of the teachers will come along for you to be able to do that, everything. And you will speak without having any idea what you're going to talk about beforehand. But as soon as you open up your mouth, all of a sudden, all the information comes. Sometimes I script my lives, and when I do, I usually use about 10% of the information that I have written. The last live that I had everything all set up. Do you know I didn't even look at my computer? Because that information is always there. Today I didn't script anything. I did a video just before this and sat for 5 minutes. This is not to brag or impress you, but to impress upon you your full potential. And someone has to show it for you to know that it's possible for you. And that's what a guru is. That's why I took the name Papa Guru. I'm not anybody's brain. I'm not anybody's a master. I'm not anybody's anything. I'm simply a teacher who at times initiates one into certain levels into certain levels of acquirement. That's what a guru is. Guru means teacher, one who's able to initiate as well. A teacher who's able to initiate. That's what a guru is. Don't let them tell you anything else. And I'm very careful to tell people that because the word guru is a very, very, very high frequency word. And the charlatans and con men have brought it down in people's minds. So much so that when Spirit brought me the name, Papa Guru, I didn't call myself that. Spirit gave me that name. I later found out that Papa Guru is the ancestor who has spent thousands of years bringing more consciousness and teaching people about the greatness that's within them. And in order for you to do that, you must already be that. You must already be an example of that. And it took me almost a year to really purge out all of the trash I had in my mind when it came to that name, because I didn't so easily accept it. And then Spirit said, Spirit doesn't go, oh, okay, let's change it to a name that you like. Spirit says, you must accept who you are, or you will not be successful. And left it like that. Spirit never said anything to me after that. I knew I had some work to do. And you know what? Here's how I know you create your reality. Listen to me on this one. People say, I would have my turban on and people say, who you are? And I would have, who are? Oh, what's your name? And I would have a hesitation. And then I would tell them, Papa Guru. Oh, what's your name? I'm Papa Guru. See how timid that looks? And do you know how many people came up to me and said, you know, I don't think that name's fitting. That's just not you. Oh, Guru. I don't like gurus. I got all that stuff from people. Nothing to do with those people, by the way. They simply reflected to me how I felt about my own self. Nothing to do with the people. I created that. I set the frequency of doubt about myself because I didn't like the word guru. I did that. And people would reflect it to me. They would come up with little different names. I had one client that I coached. She's now written a book and everything. She was referred to me as G. Until the day I decided that was going to be my name, and I was going to accept the ancestor that has been spending literally thousands of years. I'm simply a reincarnation of myself, thousands of years. But every time you were born and reincarnated, the body and this mind and the emotions, they only know you, the physical one. They don't know you, the eternal and whole one. And whatever belief systems you have in there will affect how you see yourself. And as soon as I decided that I was going to acceptance is one of the biggest things you can do in life and in spirituality. You must accept who you are. Even when you are in a place where you wish you weren't, you must accept it in order to move away from it. I had to accept it in order to be it. As soon as I said, this is my name, and I'm proud of it, all of that doubt went. I think I got one or two people. And I said, this is my name. This is who I am for right now. And I decided to strip away all the limitations associated with it. Still a work in progress when it comes to that. All of a sudden, no one had a problem with my name. I walk up to people and say, hi, I'm Papa Guru. They're not looking at me funny. They are accepting it like that. They are not looking at me like, ooh, I don't like your name. I don't like a guru, blah, blah, blah. They've done so many bad things and all this kind of stuff, like they did before. And when I shifted, because the shifts always occurs in the mind, and the mind is more important than your soul, because the mind dictates what goes on. The mind dictates what goes on. That's why you must control your mind so that you then become the dictator, the one that's in control and not your mind. And if your mind is in control of something, and it could be that you're in control of everything, but when it comes to one thing, your mind's in control. When it came to that, my name, my mind was in control. And it created the reality. But deep down, I, in myself, knew that wasn't right. Thank you, JC. Thank you so much for yelling at me. I knew that wasn't where I should be. So I was not in alignment with where spirit had placed me. I let my mind trump my spirit until I came to my senses, because of some silly belief system. And as soon as I burnt that away and I shifted in here, the shift outside was immediate. And everyone fell in line with that. That's how we create our reality. It's not that hard once it's explained. That's just one example of in my life. And I use that one because everybody knows my name and all that. I didn't use something no one's aware of. But I did not so easily accept my name when I got it. It came directly from spirit. Directly. And that, receiving that name in this life was an initiation to a higher frequency and way of being. So in order for me to do what I'm doing successfully, I had to accept that name. I had to accept the promotion. Thank you so much, you guys, for getting us up to 10,000 likes. And if you post a question or comment, and I don't see it, don't read it because I don't have my glasses, please feel free to post it again. So this experience that I've just talked about is no different than some of the experiences you guys have or are having. Because you must accept who you are, because your ancestors will bring that to you. You must accept the rise in your frequency. You must accept who you are as you go up the ladder of consciousness. Because if you don't accept it, you can't have it. That's what manifestation is. That's how we create a reality. Our reality is created by what we focus on, what we desire, and how we feel about that thing that we desire. And then on another level, our realities are created by what we accept about ourselves. For example, if we talk about abundance and all this, you love abundance, you want it, you think about it, you've got everything involved with it. You've got the emotions about abundance. Ooh, you feel good about what you're going to be or what you're going to be able to get when you become an abundant machine. Their focus is on it. And your desire, that's the third thing, your desire is right where it should be. But it doesn't come. Or so it seems. I'd like you to know that it's coming every day, but you don't accept it. How are you going to ask for something, and when it comes, oh, I don't want it. But you asked for it. You want it. You desire it. You focus on it and you feel a certain way about it. And it shows up to your doorstep, but you turn your back on it. That's where the acceptance part comes. A lot of people want abundance, and they want this and they want that, but they have a problem with money. Let me tell you something. If you have a problem with money, abundance is not coming to your doorsteps. Because money is a part of abundance. And abundance, she's kind of funny. She's an all or nothing girl. She either gets it all or she doesn't. And she either gives it all or she doesn't. If you have a problem with one aspect of abundance, it's going to have a hard time. Because every time it shows up, it's not like it doesn't. We turn our backs on it because we have silly ideas of what it looks like. We have silly ideas of what it looks like. And abundance is a pretty broad thing. Abundance in friendships. Abundance in money. Abundance in driving to the mall and getting that parking spot every time. That's abundance. A friend paying you a compliment and you don't accept it, you've just denied abundance when it showed up because you don't see that as abundance. It will affect everything because abundance, she likes to be liked through and through. And she might show up to you showing you her fingernails and you're just not into that. She might show up to you asking you how her hair looks. Of course, I'm making an analogy here. Abundance shows up to us in all kinds of ways, and you must accept all of it if you want to get the aspects of it that you think are the things that you desire. You walk down the street and there's a penny. Not worth me bending down for that. My friends, that's abundance. What I'm doing, I'm not trying, there's no trying, there's just doing. What I'm doing is telling you that abundance comes in all forms, and every time you see something that you can gain that adds to you, just say that that is abundance because it is. And if it's one penny, that's more than one penny than you had before. And you could have $1 billion. That's abundance if you pick up that penny. And then put it in a glass jar. And then when you get enough of them, you either give it to charity, you do something with it that either benefits you or others. One of the biggest things is with abundance, and I wasn't meant to be talking about, but I am because I'm getting to the point here as to why that's important. Because we're talking about creating your reality, the one that you want, and it's created by the simple things that you do on a daily basis. In terms of gratitude, because when you don't pick up that penny because it's too much of a waste of time and energy for you, you're not grateful. I'll pick up that penny and go, grateful for this penny. And when I first started doing that, it seemed really fake because I wasn't really grateful for the penny. But then I told myself, even though I'm having a battle with my mind about this, I'm grateful. And you need to be grateful too, because this is what we need to do to get where we want to go. You just have a conversation with your mind. And don't let it run the show. Pick that penny up. When someone pays you a compliment, say thank you. Thank you for the nice words. And it might feel funny when you first do it, but you keep doing it. And it's not the fake it till you make it. That doesn't exist. You are doing it because you want to plant the seeds in your mind about what you want for the future. It's seed planting. And because you haven't done it, and because for most of your life you had a hard time taking compliments, that's this guy too. It's going to feel funny going against what you're used to doing. You're going to feel silly. You do it anyway until it becomes something that's a must. Because you, the one that knows, is the one that's dictating to the mind. And it is the mind that's going to the emotions that it knows. It isn't working against you. It's just working and doing what it knows. So the minute you go against what your mind knows, it starts paying attention to that and starts filtering out the old emotion. And eventually, you will pick up that penny and you will have a genuine smile. Now you've just transformed your reality. Now your mind functions differently and starts creating differently. You see how simple it is to create your reality? It's just battling the mind against old habits that were once unconscious and then brought to the conscious for you to change and for you to correct and for you to create what you want in your mind first. So when someone I use this compliment thing because I know a lot of us in the spiritual community are like that. Because we think that if we accept it, we're being boastful and up ourselves. No, you're not. I'd rather some of us need to do that. We're too much not up ourselves. We need to err on the other side of things so that then we can come back to exactly where we need to be. But we need a radical change sometimes. That's why I say sometimes you err on the side of being boastful so that you can create a radical change. And then you'll know that boastfulness is not, and then you'll come back to where you should be. Not being completely thinking that you're not worthy of any compliments, or the other side where you can't get enough of them. Where you say thank you even though you feel funny, and don't put it on the person. You put it on yourself. They're giving you something. They're actually becoming vehicles of abundance for you. They're not the problem. Don't say, oh, I don't deserve it. Oh, it's nothing. They're not the problem. They're not the problem. Don't say, oh, I don't deserve it. Oh, it's nothing. They're not the problem. They're not the problem. Don't say, oh, I don't deserve it. Oh, it's nothing. They're not the problem. The problem is you. And you accept it even though it feels funny. And after a while, it won't feel so funny. You'll see that person as a vehicle for abundance, and you will thank them for allowing themselves to be that on your behalf. You'll see them differently. And then when you say thank you, it'll be a legitimate thank you with a feeling of gratitude instead of a feeling of not worthy. And when we say it's nothing, it's just another way of saying I'm not worthy. When you say, oh, anybody would do it. No, not anybody would do it. I mean, lots of people who are not grateful to you don't say thank you or don't give you compliments. Lots of them. So this is how we create our reality. And I use abundance as a pivot because we're all familiar with it and we all desire it. So I use that as the pivot point. Because abundance is the fuel for your creation. Your imagination is the creator or the interface where that the creator in you uses to create for you. But not even the creator within you can create beyond how you believe about yourself and how you see yourself. Can only create to that limitation. This then shapes where your frequency goes. Very difficult to be abundant or to have high frequency if you don't have some abundance involved there. And like I said, it's simple. Anything that comes to you that uplifts you, or that is meant to uplift you, that is meant to add to you, is abundance. Just shift the definition to all the silly things, whatever it is, money, whatever, all that. Just say abundance is anything that adds to me. Period. A penny on the floor that you didn't have, that's an addition. A compliment that you receive, that's an addition. A parking spot right near where you want to go, that's an addition. All these things, right? They don't seem like big things. They are. Someone letting you get in front of them in a line because they see that maybe you're in a rush, and they go, "It's okay. I can wait another 10 minutes. You go ahead." You thank them, and you accept the gift. You drop something on the floor and someone says, "Oh, you dropped it here." Did they not add to you? That's abundance. Hey, friend, I was thinking about you today. How are you doing? Abundance. You see? Abundance. This is important to you being able to create your reality. This is important for you being able to raise your frequency. This is important for you to shift your vibration. And more importantly than all of those things, shift the mind. The mind dictates what happens to you on a day-to-day basis. I know a lot of people always speak about the soul. I always speak about the mind. Why? Because how we move and how we progress is dependent on your hour to hour, your day to day, your week to week, and your month to month. You know who's always present during every single one of those events in a very, very, very powerful way? Your mind. Whenever you want to make a move, oh, okay. Yeah, I've decided. The minute you use the word decide is strictly for the mind and nothing else. I desire mind. I'm focusing on that mind. I feel a certain way about that. Emotion and mind. The soul is not in play in any of those things. It's the mind that's in play. You get a hold of that. And the master, who is you, the creator inside, is ahead and leading the game. That's when the soul comes into play. That's right. The mind is where it's all at. One of the 7 laws that governs the universe is mentalism, not soulism or any of those things. Mentalism. And you know what the wording or model for mentalism is? All is mind. Everything is mind. And if anybody can think about anything that's different and why it's not, I challenge you to please let me know. And we can discuss it. Because I have tried to find something different, and I can never come away with anything different. All is mind. And I had my own personal thing to it. Doesn't pull away from it. All is mind, or the product of a mind. This does not have a mind, but it's the product of a mind. The universe is the product of a great mind. Everything you see in this physical reality is the product of a mind. Everything. It's either a mind or the product of a mind. The last words, I say this as I look back. I triggered my own spiritual awakening when I said to myself, and I remember where I was, when I said it and what I was doing. When I said, I've had enough of all of this, I must now pay attention to my spiritual walk. Didn't know what it meant or anything. But those statements told my spirit, because I had a focus and I had an emotion about it, and it was no joke. If you had put a gun to my head and say, you must change that statement, I would have not backed down. I would have told you, pull that trigger, and something better had come out of that barrel, because it was going to be over for you, because I was serious business. When I said that, those toes were 10 toes down and deep. Do you know what I did that with? That was a statement from the mind. It could have been placed there by spirit for me to choose. But until the shift occurred in my mind and the words were uttered, it did not happen. Because if it sat in the mind, that would just be potential, nothing. It would just be sitting there. Only when the action of shifting the mind and uttering the words into reality did it then become activated. The mind was where all of that happened. The mind is where it all happens. So when we say, or even I say, creating your reality, that's what I'm talking about. That is why abundance is such an important subject. Because it requires maximum drive inside of your imagination. You will create such beautiful things because there's no confusion about what abundance is once you recognize what it looks like. And it's linked to necessity. When a reality has a necessity, that's the fuel for minds to act. And then once it gets to the mind, then the desire and the focus and all that stuff comes into play. But when it's sitting in the reality, and the field takes it up and sends it out to many minds to invent something, to create solutions. Inventions solve problems. They address challenges. And when the field sees that, the field that all minds are tied to will absorb it and send it off to many minds. In that way, it guarantees that the solution is created, invented, and implemented. We know this is true because I use the radio, the invention of the radio, because that's a real popular one. It happens all the time. All of the time. It's happening every day on all scales. But there are 3 inventors of the radio who came out. One, Marconi, came out a day before the Englishman. He got credit for it because he came out with it like a day. It's that close. I might be a little bit off. He came out like with a day. There were 3 people was an American, an Englishman, and an Italian. 3 of them were working on it, independent of each other. Because the field took it to many minds, and those were the 3 minds that took it up. And Marconi won. He gets credit for that. So when you open your mind to abundance, opportunities come. They never stop. And then you notice them. Because the opportunity doesn't discriminate. It just sends it to many minds. Until a mind creates it. Thank you so much, Laredo. I can't see that well. Thank you so much. I believe I said your name properly. If I didn't, let me know. So, I'm going to bring this around to what's going on today. Some of you have been here, right? When I say, and I'm hoping that you've watched my last few TikToks, when I say be joyful, and when I say if you don't have something to be joyful, create something. Because when you're joyful, that's a high frequency, and the mind creates wonderful things at that frequency. The ones who want to keep the misery going on this planet want your mind to be down there in the gutter so that you create the reality that they wish to have. That's right. And they have to bring your frequency down. How do you measure your frequency? Based on where you are emotionally most of the time. Where you are emotionally most of the time, I call that the emotional state that you live in. Someone who lives in joy, someone who lives in happiness, someone who lives in love, kindness, even neutrality, they create things that are in alignment with that emotional state. Emotional state. That's how you measure your frequency. And you can go to your computers and go to your images on your search engine, preferably not the one with the 2 O's. You can go to the images, put down frequency of emotions, not vibration. Frequency and vibration, not the same. Frequency of emotions, and it'll tell you what frequency each of them lay on. Neutrality and above. Courage. Courage and above is where you want to be. Meaning, that's where you live most of the time. Emotionally. Anything lower than that, you start creating for them. Whether you know it or not. Because you will create according to the frequency that you live in. And every time, as a collective, we're making the jump from one of those lower frequencies to a higher one. That's when we get the stuff that we're getting now to prevent you from actually reaching that frequency. This is the 3rd live I've mentioned it. This is how important it is. If you go back and look at all the major calamities, 9/11, the ones with all of the plagues and diseases, bird flu, bubonic plague, all of them, you can look them up. Look at how many years they bring those up. They just do them and put them on repeat. All of the disasters that they manufacture, it's always at the time when humanity is about to make a jump. None of it's worked, but it has worked on some of us. You simply have to live in your joy and ignore what they're doing. because it can't last. Even if they say it can't last. Wig. Boy, they gave me a hard time with that puzzle piece. It can't last. We can't dip down to that. That's the only way it can last. And I have a distinct feeling that the amount of energy being harnessed is not enough to fuel what they got going on. You know why I say that? Because I listened to the President of the United States and read between the lines of what he said just recently. He said, and I paraphrase, well, at first he said 4 to 6 weeks, right? Then he said it's going to be a short burst. And he started to talk about, I'm going to give you the hint because if you know what to look for. He talked about who convinced him to do this. He mentioned 3 people. Really? This wasn't your decision? He also mentioned a few other things, all sounding like he's backing away and finding a way out. The same tactic that he used during the insurrection and attempted coup here in the US. It's the same tactic he used. He blamed the vice president for what went on there. Back then, he put it all on other people. That was the technique and tactic he used to back away from that. And he just started doing this, announced this like in the last 48 hours. He started doing this. Meanwhile, trying to sound like he's on top. They don't have the fuel to keep this going. Now, they're going to tell you they don't have this kind of stuff. They're running out of that. You guys have heard it. If you're not, don't worry about it. They don't have the energy from the mines. And I want you to look at this because this is a lesson in mind. This is a lesson in mind. You can see it playing out, and I'm pointing out to you how you can study mentalism. Right there, you got a big classroom right in front of you. If you look over in Is Not Real, and you look over in the US, how much public support are you getting? I want you to look over on the other side. Our country, Iran. And look what support they're getting in the streets. That's all I need to know how this is going to end. All of the minds, not all of them, but too many minds are in support of that. And not enough minds are in support of the ones who initiate it. I'm telling you everything under entertainment purposes only. I want you to observe that so that you can see in real time in this classroom called Planet Earth the power of the mind. Not even the most powerful of the most powerful can can overcome anything they do without the support of the minds on this planet. All is mind. I don't care what technology you got. All of that came from mind too. I don't care what kind of, advanced stuff you've got. If you do not have the minds and the hearts, you are going to fall flat on your face. I don't care what you got. You can use all kinds of big words you want. So I want you to look at that so that you can see the power of mind. You've got the perfect classroom. Don't waste it. And I beg you to start looking at your mind very differently instead of what you've been taught. Because I've been taught by Spirit, the most powerful mind, and everybody knows this, the most powerful tool on this earth is the human mind. And some of us forget it. And we think that because someone has so much and is in control of so many things and has so much money and so much this and so much that they're in control. They are not. Another lesson that you've all observed in this big classroom was the lesson taught to the richest man in the world, or so they say. Mr. I don't want to say that because it's not Tesla. But the ones who made those electric vehicles that they call Tesla. Within a matter of months, half of his wealth up in smoke. Why? Because he challenged too many minds with his sick act. And like that, half of his wealth was gone. Not so powerful, is he? That's a lesson in mind. And he turned the minds against him with his arrogance and his hatred and his disdain for humanity. He's still paying the price. Now everything he touches doesn't turn to gold anymore like they told you. It turns to dust. And he will never get back to where he was. As a matter of fact, he will continue to slide downward. Why? Because he forgot that his most powerful asset was not what he had in the bank or not what he had in stocks. He forgot that the most powerful asset were the minds that allowed him to get that. That is another lesson. Now you can go and look that up. Go look up what his net worth was before election day. And look what his net worth went to 3 months after inauguration day. All easy to look up. And you can talk about how he did something, he did a certain salute, and he did that, and blah, 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 and that's what did it. No, minds. Because the minds turned against him. He's lost the biggest markets because the minds turned against him. He thought he was above everything. You see, arrogance always gets them. And it's the mind that decides it's time to go. Not the soul. The soul only pertains to the individual that holds it. The soul is connected only to you. And its prerogative in business is only you. The mind, on the other hand, everything. And we have been told, oh, it's about your soul. No, that's the trick. No, the soul's important because that's what's going to record all the soul's important. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying the soul's not important. I'm just telling you that if you want to feed that soul and you want to fulfill your soul's urge and soul's desire, you better get a hold of this, because it ain't going to happen if you don't got this in control. If your spirit, your higher self, your ancestors are not above this, your soul is going to be starving, skin and bones, if this is not right. If this is not in its proper place. Skin and bones is what it'll be, your soul. Your spiritual journey is a journey of your mind. And if it's in control of you, it's going to be a miserable failure. But if you're in control of it, success. It will become your ally. It will become your ally. Okay, I'm reading through. I'm looking close at all my glasses today. So if I miss something, I'm just going through right now. Aeon Monad. Hi, can I talk to you? Yeah, book an appointment. Go to DM me and book an appointment. And do a session. Because I'm not just going to talk to you. I don't have the time. I'm very busy. Please don't take offense to it. Right? But if you want to talk to me, you want to do a session. And the session isn't just to have a one-on-one personal conversation. It's to deal with anything that you may be interested in addressing. Oh, yeah. Thank you, BMW 63. Thank you so much. Hey, talking abundance. Oh, that's AI doing that. Thank you so much for the follow. It's great to have all of you here, by the way. Right? So everything is mind. The second most, this is my opinion, by the way, it's not gospel. The second most important universal law, second, number 2 out of the 7 is mentalism. Number 1 is rhythm. My opinion. Okay, my opinion. Peace and love. Unconditional love for ourselves, absolutely. And for our lives as a collective tribe beats fear and day I feel. Yeah, it does. Fear any day. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Absolutely. I want to give special thanks to my moderators. Thank you so much. BMW 63 and JC. I see that both of you are here. Thank you so much. Yes, you're speaking core truths. I can feel it in my cells. Thank you for the kind words. It has been falling apart. I can see the pattern more now. Yeah, right, Laredo? Yeah, it is. That's why I say, I said earlier before I started, I said, it's important for us to see what's going on in the world so that we can study and we can just learn from this great classroom. But I do have an exception to that. If you looking out there it brings your frequency down, makes you sad to see the pain and the suffering, don't do it. Your frequency and your emotional integrity is more important. Maybe you can look at the lesson after classroom is over. And then you can look at it because then it's over and you know the world isn't going to hell in a handbasket and WW3 is not going to happen. Then you can look at it. But don't during it, the pain and the suffering, because remember, if the pain and the suffering is going to bring you down, don't look at it. Your mental health, your emotional integrity, much more important. Look at it after, not during. And if you still can't, don't do it. Drinking water, mind your business. If it means you withhold your emotional integrity and your mental health. But if you can look at that stuff, and because you know that they're not going to have their way and it's not going to influence you negatively, it's a good lesson. It's unbelievable. And I could see how, woo, the touchers of our kids have going to get it handed to them. And I'm not saying that the other side are good sides. I want you to also notice one thing. I talk about the Abrahamic religions all the time and the evils that they perpetrate. Right? We should get away from them as soon as possible. Who are the ones doing all of this? The ones who call them the ones who follow Judaism, the ones who follow Islam, and the ones who are Christians, all three of them. They've been doing this for thousands of years. But don't look at them as them, because that energy can leap onto anyone. Be aware of it. It's the colonizer energy. And I don't want you to see colonizers as certain people or Europeans, because that happened to them, that energy happened to them. They're simply carrying it. That energy can jump to others as well. Don't get it twisted, because if you create a face and you put that face onto it, and you then say that's the face of it, when it leaps to something else, you will not recognize it. It's much more bigger than that. You must see past the perpetrators and see them as victims. That's not giving anybody a pass. You're just seeing it the way it is. You're not giving anybody a pass, because the thing that is the colonizing energy is bigger than that. It's above them. And you see that, so that when it decides it doesn't have her home anymore and tries to jump to something, you can see it. And you can rectify it. This is important. This is also part of reality. This is important. You must see this, because I've taught this in the spiritual community, my spiritual tribe. And I have talked about it a bit here, where that energy comes from. It first started in the universe. And those beings who are not human in any way, shape, or form have been here. They have been, Gaia, our planet, has decided to hold them. So that the rest of the universe cannot be infected by them. This virus. And so part of it is, whoever's down here, you got to watch for that. And now it's being purged out. This is why Gaia is so loved in this universe. She's always been loved. And this is why I get pretty emotional and downright defensive when people say the planet is going to end in World War III and all this other stuff. Armageddon, da-da-da. You're listening to the lies pumped out by those so-called holy books. Because as I've said the other day, for those of you who are not here, nobody ever had a conversation with Gaia to find out her opinion on the whole thing. But suddenly we want to condemn her to an end of torture, pain, and death based on lies. I recommend you talk to her first. Get her opinion on it. Because she's already figured it out. She's just letting these fools burn themselves out. And don't you buy into any of that nonsense about WW3 and all that. It's already been happening. You think it's coming. It's already here. It's happening now. WW3 is about your consciousness. And this is what I mean when we look at something and give it a label, we miss the real picture. WW3 has already been happening for a long decades. And it's over your consciousness. Don't get it twisted by thinking it's something coming. It's not. It's been here. That what's going on is simply a physical manifestation, which is why we can clear that energy out when we live in love, joy, gratitude, compassion, empathy, kindness, gentleness. Oh, don't mistake any of the things I just mentioned for you being a doormat. Because we've been taught that being those things mean that you get stepped on. So that you don't do those things and you don't be those things and you don't, most importantly, embody those things. Those things are the antidote that will heal the planet. And don't conflate them with being a doormat and a pushover. Meek and weak. Don't mistake any of what I've just said, any of those emotional states of being, with being weak, meek, and last. Don't get it twisted. Don't conflate them. Because you can be all of those things and be someone that you never want to F with. Because you still can know and give the energy that you need to give when the time's appropriate. Because you might have to put boot to ass, and you can do it while still being kind and all of that to the one that deserves it. There's nothing timid about the divine, nothing weak about the divine. Okay, let me just look through, see if there are any questions from anyone here. Yes, when they had mixed executive power intertwined with religion and self-appointed control. Yes. Yes, the truth has been inverted mostly. The things with real strengths we are told are weak. Exactly. You just simply don't have to buy it. It only becomes true when you buy it and it's true to you. So all of this is staged. In a way, yes. But here's the kicker. Some of the players actually think it's real. They actually think they're going to get away with what they're doing. They are so manipulated, they don't know that they're just robots being puppeted. And they actually think that they're going to succeed. Some of them are going to be in shock. They are already in shock that the whole thing is backfired. They can't understand it. So yes, it's staged. But the players on the stage, most of them are not aware. Because all it takes for that virus that I just talked about to take over is for you to be in love with power and control. That's the opening that that energy needs. That colonizer energy that's been in the universe for billions of years. Because the war that is going on is billions of years old. Billions. So that's why I say when you look at a certain face and you say that's the colonizer, just know that you're one step away from where the real colonization is. It doesn't have a face. It might have a face because maybe our people suffered and that's the face that it came in. But you must see the face, and then you must also see beyond the face. You're one step removed. If you think the colonizer is a certain kind of people, you're one step removed from where the true colonization is. And by being one step removed, you'll miss it when it switches and morphs to something else. I give credit to a creator on this app that brought that point up. She brought that up. I forget her name. I've never, She brought that up and I said, yeah, that is true. Because what did that colonizing energy look like before it took the face that it has now? It looked like something else. And anyone in love with power and control, we got lots of those people of all races and kinds that love power and control. Oh, that colonizer will switch like that to those people. And you'll think the colonizer looks a certain way. Meanwhile, it's sitting right there in the middle of you, looking like something else, wearing a different mask. Be careful of that. Because I teach in the community how to look past the body, how to look past the puppet, and see the puppet master. By the way, subscribe to the newsletter, and if you're interested in joining the spiritual community, My Spiritual Tribe, it's at myspiritualtribe.com, or DM me, and you can get started that way as well. Link in bio for the newsletter as well. Right, so that's important. Because we have to be able to see much broader beyond what's being presented in front of us. Our gaze must widen just a little bit for you to see what's going on. And if we become narrow-minded, we miss out. We miss out. So important. So important. So, when we are able to create, because I've been going back and forth with manifestation, creation, because it has everything to do with what we need to be doing now. So that we don't create, because you're always creating, whether you know it or not. The only difference between people is where they are consciously and what they do unconsciously. Things you do that you're not even aware that you're doing. We need to, and so the point of, say, a live like this is to bring things from the unconscious into the conscious. From the unconscious into the conscious. I must add that some people refer to the subconscious mind as the unconscious mind. bunk. The subconscious mind is not unconscious at all. Unconscious is stuff that you're not aware of, that you either do or that is happening because of you. And the more of that that's brought into the conscious realm of your awareness, the more control you have. The more you understand how things are working in your environment, the more you're aware of what you do. The more you're aware of yourself. And self-awareness is the only awareness you need to know. But you got to pull that from the unconscious, so that you can consciously, with your conscious mind, evaluate and decide what you want to send down to the subconscious mind, the creator mind. And you'll probably realize, oh my God, I've been doing this. I talked about abundance and how we turn away from abundance all the time without knowing it. That's bringing something from the conscious into the unconscious, into the conscious, which then can decide what goes down to be created. But if you're not aware about what's going down to be created, you'll be creating a reality and wondering why certain things happen. Right? And so that's also, you can also put that in the category of inner work. And it all is involved in knowing the self, defying the taboo against finding out who you really are. You're literally going into the unconscious side of yourself and moving it into the conscious, into the light, so that you can get rid of the scum and trash while you hold on and keep the golden nuggets. But if you're not aware, then the golden nuggets, as well as the trash, go down in there. And what will come out will be the trash. Because while the trash is there, the negativity, that's why we're in a culture, if you live in, the culture that I live in, negativity is hyped up, pumped up, and focused on way too much. So when you get rid of the negativity, the trash, the stuff that's allowing you to create the things that you don't want, then you can go, oh, that thing, I didn't even know that was there. Boop. Garbage can. Oh, what's that? I didn't take care of this childhood stuff, and it keeps creating this thing that I don't want. Boop. Let me heal from that. Accept it, release it, so that I can start creating a better life for myself. Because it's all up here. All up here. All right. Yeah, Laredo, you can go to myspiritualtribe.com or DM me. All right. Yeah. So, thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much. This was another great live. I hope that you got a lot out of it. And that it has helped to at least create a shift in your mind when it comes to you becoming a better version and creating what you want out of life. And if that's only happened to one person, it will have been worth it. I want to thank all of you for being here. And the next time I'll be here is on Thursday at 8 p.m.-ish Pacific Standard Time. And those of you in my spiritual tribe, in the community, I will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Thank you.